South America, a continent diverse in terms of culture and demographics, is home to several nations, each with its unique characteristics. One nation in particular stands out for its tranquility and prosperity. This South American nation, despite having a relatively small population, enjoys a high per capita income, reflecting a high standard of living. This country is widely celebrated for its passion for soccer. Players like Fernando Muslera, Luis Suarez, and Diego Forlán have achieved international fame, symbolizing the nation's talent and sportsmanship. Located in the southern part of South America, this country is known for its stunning beaches with crystal-clear waters. Although it may seem small in size, it covers an impressive area of 176,000 square kilometers, offering a mix of urban and natural landscapes. Uruguay, a South American country with a land area of 176,000 square kilometers, is known for its relatively small population of around 3.5 million inhabitants. This population density sharply contrasts with densely populated countries in South Asia, such as Bangladesh, which, despite having a smaller area of 148,000 square kilometers, houses a much larger population. This contrast makes Uruguay particularly appealing to those who prefer less congested environments. The name Uruguay has its roots in the indigenous languages of the region, roughly translating to River of the Painted Birds. The country's flag is distinctive, with its blue and white stripes, and a symbol in the upper left corner that pays homage to its legacy of freedom. Historically, the country had Fructuoso Rivera as its first president, an important figure in its history. Uruguay is often referred to as the Switzerland of South America, a comparison that highlights its stable and resilient economy, in stark contrast to the economic hardships and income inequalities observed in many other countries on the continent. This economic balance has helped to avoid extreme income disparities and reflects the country's commitment to the well-being of its citizens. As an illustration, Uruguay deserves recognition for being a pioneer in various significant social reforms. This South American country was the first to implement an 8-hour workday, setting a precedent for the protection of workers' rights. This advancement in Uruguay is a notable example of support for the working class. In 1917, Uruguay also stood out by granting women the right to vote and run for political office, an achievement that preceded many developed nations. Additionally, Uruguay is recognized for its progressive approach to various social issues. Same-sex marriage is legal in the country, and since December 2013, its citizens have been able to use marijuana for recreational purposes. The country is characterized by its secularism, without the influence of religion in government or public education. Montevideo, the Uruguayan capital, is the vital hub of the country, hosting both the government and important cultural institutions. Montevideo plays a vital role as a center of maritime ports, essential for tourism and trade in Uruguay. This port serves as a crucial point of entry and departure for most of the country's imports and exports, highlighting the significance of maritime transportation in the Uruguayan economy, especially for intercontinental trade. The population of Montevideo is estimated at approximately 1.5 million people, representing nearly half of Uruguay's inhabitants. Its location at the southernmost tip of the country provides a convenient connection point for ferries to Buenos Aires. Geographically, Uruguay is situated in the southern part of South America, with its southern coasts bordering the Atlantic Ocean. Due to its location, overland access from European countries is not feasible. Additionally, the limited demand for air travel to Uruguay often results in flights with layovers in Europe or the United States, which can significantly extend the duration of the journey, sometimes exceeding a day in transit between airports and flights. For those fascinated by cowboy culture, a journey through the rural regions of Uruguay is highly recommended. This South American country is famous for being home to gauchos, the South American counterparts of cowboys, and plays a central role in Uruguayan cultural identity. Gauchos are notable for their exceptional horseback riding skills and their way of life in harmony with nature, often settling near forests and wetlands. They choose a simpler and more traditional lifestyle, far removed from the hustle and bustle of modern life. Uruguay's predominantly flat geography favors the preservation and practice of their traditions and equestrian skills. Exploring the interior of Uruguay, visitors can encounter these iconic cowboys, watch them riding horses, and even have the opportunity to share their daily lives on farms, experiencing firsthand the authenticity of their lives. In Uruguay, the official language is Spanish. However, in areas near the border with Brazil, it's common to find people who speak Portuguese. For visitors, the language barrier can be one of the main challenges when arriving in the country. Most people, especially the older population, predominantly speak either Spanish or Portuguese, with few being fluent in other languages. As a result, outside of Montevideo, the capital, it can be difficult to find someone who can communicate in English. The reason Uruguay doesn't have its own language is attributed to its historical and past cultural influences. Over the past 70 years, the country has drawn inspiration from Switzerland, undergoing a significant process of modernization and renewal. Uruguay's transformation, which extended into the 1990s, has positioned it as one of the most developed and pleasant countries to live in today. One of the reasons it may not be as globally recognized is its geographically distant location from many countries. Uruguay has established itself as a safe and attractive destination for tourists and has developed an extensive trade network, reaching markets as far as China. If you're curious about its exports, know that Uruguay is famous for exporting high-quality meats and excellent-grade wool. This small South American country has also been blessed with gold deposits, a stroke of luck comparable to winning the lottery, making it a treasure both above and below the ground. However, despite these positive aspects, the minimum wage in Uruguay in 2023 is something that may surprise visitors, at approximately 20,000 Uruguayan pesos, equivalent to about $540. Therefore, while the country exhibits relative prosperity, with an average income of around $800, it still lags behind European countries in terms of income. Daily life in Uruguay offers a fascinating blend of Latin traditions and urban modernity. While exploring the streets of Uruguay, it's not uncommon to come across people dancing the tango, a vibrant reflection of the local Latin culture. The buildings in the heart of the cities often showcase classical Spanish and Portuguese architecture with over a century of history. These styles, nestled among modern structures, lend a unique historical charm to urban areas. As is typical in Latin America, Uruguay is also home to many street musicians, enriching the cultural atmosphere in the cities. The public transportation system, especially buses, is notably well developed and efficient. Surprisingly, it's common to see people on horseback even in the city center, a sign of the country's strong connection to its rural traditions. Uruguayan cities are also known for their beautiful seaside promenades, with gray buildings reminiscent of well-known vacation destinations. Uruguay's cuisine, famous for its livestock and high-quality meats, is reflected in local restaurants where steaks are an unmissable specialty. In Uruguay, besides soccer, another great delight is savoring a juicy grilled steak. This country, according to estimates, boasts an impressive amount of cattle, over 12 million for a population of just 3.5 million. As a result, meat plays a predominant role in the local cuisine. Another unique attraction in Uruguay is the legality of gambling. There are several casinos, mainly in the capital, open for visitors. Furthermore, street safety allows tourists to explore and take photos freely, as the country has very low rates of crime such as robberies and assaults. Regarding the cost of living, Uruguay can be considered the most expensive in South America. For example, a burger at a typical restaurant costs a minimum of 300 Uruguayan pesos, equivalent to about $8. Even water in many places comes at a high price, averaging around $2 or $3. Uruguay, despite its high cost of living, sometimes even surpassing some regions in Europe, is not considered an affordable destination for everyone. This country stands out more as a luxury retreat for those with substantial financial resources. Visitors coming from Argentina may even notice a certain monotony in comparison. However, one notably positive aspect of Uruguay is its coastline. The beaches are entirely public, free from any privatization by businesses. You will hardly find beach chairs for rent or private beach clubs. Furthermore, it's common to see young people with laptops on the streets of Uruguay, reflecting the government's policy of providing new computers to students starting primary education. Thus, all children in Uruguay have access to their own computer. As for the appearance of Uruguayans, they tend to have tanned skin, resembling Brazilians more than Argentinians, who generally have lighter skin. Observing Uruguayans, you'll also notice a tranquility and maturity in their expressions and postures. In Uruguay, in addition to tourism, the primary economic activities are livestock farming and agriculture. These sectors have shaped a challenging environment that appears to influence the more reserved demeanor of the local inhabitants. Even with a relatively small population, the parks and beaches of the Uruguayan capital are often filled with people. Among these, many are tourists, identifiable by the cameras in their hands. As the evening approaches, it's common to see vibrant and elegantly dressed locals. The typical Latin American warmth and expressiveness are clearly visible in their gestures and facial expressions. Therefore, if you're looking to make friends in Uruguay, you'll discover that dynamic social environments, promoted by various establishments, facilitate interaction and the establishment of new connections. Although the cost of living in Uruguay is high for permanent residents, in aspects such as security and human rights, the country is often compared to the Switzerland of South America. Until the next video, take care and goodbye.